Hello, my YouTube friends! You know you should be creating content from your live streams, but it's a pain in the ass, and it takes so friggin' long. Believe me, I totally understand. But there are a lot of new tools out there that are free and make it really easy to create content from your streams. Today, I want to show you 10 CapCut tips to help you edit your streams in just minutes. And we are talking good edits, not just bumping clips together. We've got a lot to get to, so you know what? Let's get to it! Now, like I said in the intro, we're going to be using CapCut today. It is a super easy editing tool to learn and use. Everything I'm going to show you today you can do in the free version as well. There are links down below in the description so you can download it and check it out for yourself. I highly recommend that you do and you grab one of your streams so you can follow along. That is always the best way to learn. Live streams can be hours long. It can be hard to find the segments that you want to cut out for your video. And no one has time to watch hours and hours of footage looking for a 3-minute clip. Luckily, you don't have to with text-based editing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is import our clip from our live stream. We'll just drag it down onto the timeline. And now what we're going to do is right click on this and we're going to go to transcription based editing. And it's going to go ahead and analyze our clip and pull everything out so we can go ahead and edit it up with the actual words. All right, so now we have our transcription based edit right over here. So it's everything that was said in the entire live stream. And this looks daunting, but it's a lot easier than me going and selecting specific points down here. I can actually search for words or whatever I'm looking for. For those of you who've never seen my live stream, I basically answer your questions. And to do that, Monica reads the question and then I answer it. So all I have to really do is find the section where Monica reads the question, which is pretty easy because usually I'll basically say, read the question. So all I have to do is kind of see where we get to that point. So right here. Ready for the first question, I can select this right here and I can see that this whole section at the beginning is basically empty. So I can click B, which selects this cutting tool. I can cut this, I can right click, delete, and boom. We're already on to our first question. So then I could just go down to where I finish the first question and you could see, let's get another question. And we'll zoom this out a little bit. You can see it automatically puts our marker there. We could just go to the end of where I asked the question and mark it up. Or if we're just going through here to kind of just separate out the questions, I can go ahead and zoom in on our marker there. I can go ahead and listen to it for a second. And what I could do is just click my B, make a cut, and there we go. We're on to our second question. Now I could go in here and search for terms like question, and you can see it highlights every single time I say question. So right here, let's get another question. We can go to that segment and we can cut right here, knowing that's another question. So now I could go in here and read through the transcript, and maybe this part right here is not part of any, maybe I'm just talking to people. I'm not actually doing anything. So I could go up here and I could just delete that segment. So now that whole segment is gone and I didn't have to watch any video. However, this editing works for me, but maybe not for you. Another huge time saver here, I find that text edits make it easy for me to edit, but depending upon the type of stream that you do, all the clips may be in one specific scene. So this next trick is going to help you separate your stream into scenes, making it easy to identify the footage you want. For this style of editing, what we're going to do is right click on here and we're going to go to split scene. And what this is going to do is it's going to look at the visuals, and every time we go to a different scene, it's going to go ahead and put a cut in there. And this is perfect for folks who have just chatting scenes or be right back scenes or something like that. Because if all of the action that you're looking for is on a specific type of scene, like a gaming scene, well, this makes it really easy. You can go through the cuts and remove all of the scenes that aren't the type of scene that you're looking for. Then you can theoretically do the text-based edit and just look for keywords that you say or you might say during the kind of segment you're trying to clip out. Like if you have an awesome kill or you're looking for headshots. Well, chances are if you have a headshot in a game, you probably say it vocally and you can easily just search for headshot. So this is a way that you could separate out only the scenes that you know you need easily, and then you can move on to the text-based editing if you want. It's just another awesome way to make it easier to aggregate a 3-hour live stream. Now, it does take a little while to split these scenes up depending upon how long your stream is. So let me show you the result that we get as soon as it's finished. So here it is all split up, and when we zoom in to see what we've got, well, we can see that my intro is all included in one scene, and then my bumper clips and that sort of stuff in between there kind of get split up a little bit because there's transitions. We've got my Hellish Head clip right here, which is all one scene. We get to the first segment where Monica and I just talked, and you can see that it split that out completely and entirely. So then you can easily just go in here and select the scenes that you don't want. You click backspace and boom, those scenes are gone. And what you could do is then you grab all of the stuff that you know you want, and you could create a compound clip, and then you could right click on that and do transcription based editing, and bada bing, you're going to get the edit for the information that you want with all the other stuff already stripped out. Depending upon what type of content you decide to create from your stream, you may want to add some commentary. This tool makes it really easy to add your camera with your background, without any background, or even find or create a background that you want to use for your video. The next thing that you may want to do is add some intros and stuff to the segments that you're going to do, and maybe even some commentary. What I like to do is I'll go ahead and bring up a scene like this, and I'll do my intro and my commentary right here. I already have it set up to record, so let's just do something really quick. Let's go ahead and start our recording. And so the next clip I'm going to show you is going to be absolutely epic. You're not going to believe it. And then I will stop. And then usually I'll do some sort of commentary over the clip. I have multiple monitors, so I can play the clip on one monitor with my headphones in, watch it, and do a voiceover. Or I can already have a pretty good idea of what I want to say, and I'll just say it over top of the clip. So now we can use these clips in two separate ways. Let me show you what I mean. So now what we're going to do is go and grab our clips, and we're going to move them in here. And we've got our intro clip, which is going to introduce our segment. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and drag this down. It'll automatically put it at the front there, and we can just zoom in to actually see that clip. What I'm going to do is go ahead and clip it up so it says what we want it to say. So the next clip I'm going to show you is going to be absolutely epic. You're not going to believe it. All right, so that would be the perfect example of the type of intro that you might do. And then we could take our action clip and drag it down over top of this one. Now this is a little bit tougher because we've got the two audio samples on top of one another. But what I'm going to do is go and find the actual stuff I'm looking for here. And what I'm going to do is just move this up here. And I'm going to use the B key to turn this into a cutter, and we're going to go to the end of this clip right here. We're going to cut, then the A key gives you the grabby, and I'm going to come down here and we're just going to turn the audio down. So now when we go back here, believe it, right in the head, that was pretty. But of course that's a scene that, you know, you can't do anything with this. It's right over top of our other one. If we click the eyeball, you could see that's what we want to be seeing. So we're going to go ahead and select this clip right here, and we're going to go to cutout, and we're going to do auto cutout. And you can see it takes a couple seconds to process, and when it's finished, we're going to just have this cutout right there like that, which is awesome. So we've got an auto cutout here. We could just move this to any point in the scene that we want it at. You can even rotate it or whatever, But now we could do commentary and be seen right down here. It's really that simple.
That was pretty unbelievable.
Wow. What if we wanted to remove the background on this scene because we don't like our background? What if we wanted to replace this? Well, that's pretty easy. We're going to select this and we're going to go to auto cutout again, and it's going to go ahead and process that. And once this is processed, you can see that our background is removed. What sort of studio do we want? Well, we could go over here into media, and we're going to go to library, and let's see, what sort of background do we want? Let's talk about green fields. And let's see what we get. So some of these are going to be videos. Some of them are just going to be static images. And you can click on them and it will kind of show you what you're looking at. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and drag this down. We're just going to put it at the beginning. And we're going to drag this up and put it right here. And then we could just extend this clip out. And now what we've got is our intro with the background. But our background's not big enough. So we got to go ahead and take the corners, stretch it out a little bit. We can move it and adjust it to whatever we want our background to be. And there we go. But what if this search doesn't yield any kind of backgrounds that we really like? What if we want something else? We can go up here to AI generated, and what we could do is go down here to adjust and select the aspect ratio that we want. Do we want it general or anime style? And this right here is the number of steps. The more detailed you want it, the longer it's going to take. Well, we want it pretty detailed, so we're going to go all the way up here towards the top. And what we want to do is, let's do green field, mountain in the background, and let's do stormy sky. And let's see what we get when we generate that. And then we could just click on it and see what we get. You might have to do this multiple times to get what you're looking for. But that's kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click this down arrow right here, and we're going to decide where we want to actually save this, and it's going to go ahead and save that file. We can go back over into our local media, and we can go into our directory here, and this is the file. We'll just drag it over here, and then we can just drag this down here, and we'll replace the clip, and there we go. So now we have an AI generated backdrop for this scene. And we've removed our background, and you can see the power of this tool and how amazingly simple it is to create all kinds of different looks and do all kinds of very simple commentary. Adding text is so easy in CapCut, but the number of things you can do with it will easily blow you away. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that nothing is selected. We want this details window, and if I select something, you can see our details window disappears. So we could just select anywhere, and then we can modify. And what we want to do is go down here and turn our free layer on. And it can't be turned off after it's turned on, which I already turned it on. But your free layer is probably off, so make sure that you turn it on. And we save it, you want this free layer thing to say turned on. And that's because we want to add some fun text. So we're going to go down here to the text, and we're going to go ahead and drag this default text. We want it in between our background layer. And without that free layer turned on, you won't be able to do that. We want it down here. There, that's where we want it. And so now you can see what that does. It puts our text in between the background and us. And so we can now upsize the font. We could put our own text in here, and we can adjust the font size. We could go here and select a different font, and we can go bold. We can change up the color, so we want maybe a yellow. Boom. We could come down here and decide how we want our text to look, and this will expand out. All that kind of fun stuff. There's so many cool things. If you want to add a backdrop to it, you want it to be have a green glow or whatever behind it. You could do all of these really cool things. I like to have the stroke behind my text. We could turn off our preset style right there as well. So I like that. That looks pretty cool. We can adjust the size and the scale and all that fun stuff. We're going to go ahead and scale this up, and we're going to adjust the position up here like that. And so now we've got some really cool text that's right behind us. We can go even further. What we're going to do is go up here and select animation, and look at all this cool animation stuff. Anything that doesn't say pro is totally free, so you could select it and it will show you what it looks like. So that's like the glitch text. There you go. I like it. what we're going to do is go ahead and show you how that works. So
Clip I'm going to show you is going to be
there you go. Now, if you don't like how it fades out or whatever, that's all right. You can select the text. We can go back to the out animation and we can go and select a totally different one if we want. So now we've got it glitching in and out.
The next clip I'm going to show you is going to be absolutely epic. You're not going to...
Man, it doesn't get any better than that. You know, that's just the tip of the iceberg. If we go over here, we can actually use AI generated text. Here you put what text you want, and here you put how you want that text drawn out. We could put subscribe as our text, and I don't know. Who knows? Is that going to give us what we want? We'll never really know until we go ahead and generate it. And there we go. We could click on it to see. And that's what we get. Pretty cool. But you can also go in here to effects and you can just grab any of these texts as well. And so there are hundreds of different styles of text in here. You can drag any of them down onto your thing and then modify them or edit in any way you want. So let's bring that down there. We could select that right there and we can change the text to, and we can actually animate that text in the same way. There you go. And that's the out. We can animate the in. So it's totally different. We can have it bounce in. So now we've got text that bounces in and then zips out. So you could do it with any of the different types of text, and you can add it over top, in between, wherever you want to add it. The text tools on this are absolutely incredible and super easy to use. Transitions are available in all editing software, so I bet you're like, big whoop, right? Well, CapCut transitions are really awesome, and they are so easy to use and even completely customizable. Let me show you what I mean. Transitions are pretty simple. We can go up here to transitions, and you could pretty much see there are hundreds and hundreds of these transitions. I personally kind of like the movement transitions. So all you have to do is grab one, and you can actually see these transitions at work just by clicking on them.
Right in the head.
And there you go. What I could do is just drag this down, put it over top of here, and it puts the transition in there. Then when I click play,
right in the head,
you can see how it works. So I can select this transition and I can modify it in any way that I want, make it shorter, longer. Pretty cool stuff. I can also go to a location like this and I can go and select animation. So if I just bring my playhead over here and I go into animation, I can select ins and outs for the animations that I want and make my own custom transition. And what I'm going to do is select out, because we're choosing the transition for the out from this scene. And I'm going to go and select, I don't know, something that I really like. So that kind of zooms in. It's like a mini zoom. Let's try a whirl. There we go. So let's try the whirl. And I'm going to go ahead and select that as my out. And then I'm going to select this clip right here. And we're going to go to the in transition. And I'm just going to find an in transition for this. So there we go. Maybe something like that. So what we could do now is we could see we've created our own little bespoke transition. Very cool. There are hundreds and hundreds of epic transitions that are included in CapCut. And that's one of the tools that makes these videos look so cool, but yet who knew they were so ridiculously easy. These cards that separate each of the sections in this video, that's right, they were created in CapCut. It's so easy to do. In between your sections, you may want to add some sort of delineation, like 5th best kill shot or whatever, who knows. And it's pretty easy to do. We're going to go into our media and we're going to go into the library. And this general library has some green screen and some background stuff, intros and ends and transitions and scenery and atmosphere and life and blah, blah, blah. We're going to go to background right here. And I like these cards. These cards work. We're going to go ahead and drag the green card over here, and we're going to put it in between these two scenes here. And of course, we don't like how that looks. We're going to go ahead and turn that 90 degrees. And if we go to basic, we can make sure that it's 90. It is. And then we can just zip it up like that. And then what we could do is we'll go back into our text tools and we'll just grab something absolutely epic that we love. All right, I like that. That'll work. We're going to go ahead and drag that over top of our card here. And you can obviously adjust the length of the card any way you want. You can also adjust the length of the text. And section 2. All right, we can go ahead and bold that up. We can make it all underlined or italic. We can uppercase it. And now all we want to do maybe is go ahead and animate it. So we're going to go to the in animation and take a look at that. We're going to go blur right, and then we're going to go to our out, but I think we'll just do slide right. That'll work. So we've got a blur, and then we've got our slide right here. You can add sound effects and all that stuff to this. Now we could go up here to adjustment, and we could actually kind of modify the color of the card if we want to. It's pretty simple stuff. We can change the brightness, contrast, shadow, whites, sharpen it, clarify. But generally speaking, these adjustments right here, you can kind of just change up the color to make sure that it's exactly the color that you want instead of the color that you just got from the template.
Every video needs some cool effects and great sound. The thing I love the most about CapCut is how ridiculously easy it is to add those things in.
Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and select this clip. It is the top clip of me talking. It's already a cutout, but we can go into effects, and any effects that we put over top of this is going to kind of affect everything. Depending upon what you want to do here, if we wanted an effect to affect this clip only and not my clip up here, let's just find something fun. This color glitch is kind of interesting. So let's just drag this down, and we'll drag it in between. So now we've got an effect on our background, but not on my figure right here. But we can add that effect on our figure right there. If we move it up here, then it adds it to everything. So you can see how that works. So let's move this down here. And let's say we wanted to accentuate something in the clip somewhere. Well, here's where your keyframes come in. We can adjust the speed of the actual glitch. So if we turn the speed all the way down, you can see how slow it goes. And if we turn the speed all the way up, you can see how fast it goes. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead here and we want to just trim up our clip so that it covers the exact location that we want. But we can actually have it glitch at different rates. So we can go to the beginning of the clip and we maybe want it glitching super slow and we want it to kind of ramp up. So what we could do is set our glitch speed to 0, click the button, and now we, just see it kind of going slow. We can go all the way up here to the end, and we can have this turned all the way up to 100. And now when we play it, we're going to see our glitch kind of really pick up and come to a head.
And that was pretty unbelievable.
So there we go. So you could see the actual gauge going up while you're doing it. What we can also do is apply glitch directly to the clip. So if we went ahead and backspaced and removed it, we can go ahead and just apply it directly to the clip like that. And for this, it doesn't give you the ability to add any kind of ins and outs, and it also doesn't give you the ability to change the speed, in a ramp or anything like that. So now it just applies it evenly across the clip. Another way to add effects to these videos is you see how we have this transition here.
Right in the head.
And that's pretty cool, but they're a lot more effective when they come with audio included. So we can just go right here to our audio section, and we can go to sound effects, and we can look for like a whoosh. And whoosh with echo, that'll work. What we're going to do is just drag that down into our audio down here, and we're going to use this to shorten it up.
and we're going to shorten it up right here. And we want this to kind of be like a sound effect for our little transition here, but you can see it's too long. So we're going to select it, and we can fade it in and fade it out. We can adjust the audio on it. We can adjust the speed. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to speed it up until we get it right where we want it. And there we go. If we zoom in a little bit more, we can kind of get a better look at what we're dealing with here. And there we go. That's pretty close to what we might be looking for. So now when we go over here,
Gonna believe it. Right in the head.
see? You just get, it's just that little thing can make all the difference between making your video sound more alive and more interesting. You can adjust the volume on these clips right here as well, and you can remove them by selecting them and just clicking backspace.
A big part of YouTube that people hate is asking for subs and engagement like comments and thumbs up. However, by every measurable matrix, asking helps you grow. People just forget to do it. It is what it is. CapCut makes it super easy to remind them.
For this, there is a cool thing called stickers. Stickers are freaking awesome. You can go ahead and expand this out and get a little bit of a look at what we're dealing with here. And what we can do here is we can just put, we could do like and subscribe. And look at all these. There are so many of them. We've got the subscribe, we've got the like. So we could just drag any one of these over top of our video here. And it's going to easily just add in that animation. Click play.
Now I'm done with winter. So
And there we go. We can add audio to these clips if we wanted to using the audio field. We can adjust them, rotate them however we want, put them anywhere in our video. You can make them longer or shorter. You can add whatever sort of animations that you want. You can even bring in ones that don't have any animation. They do exist. And you can go ahead and animate them in the same way that we animated the other stuff. So we can animate the in and the out. So there you go. These are so easy to add. You just place them anywhere in your video to kind of remind viewers that, hey, this stuff helps me out.
now I personally hate making thumbnails for my content. It's a huge pain in the ass, but Capcom makes that pretty easy too.
This is really cool. So if you just select anywhere on any of your timeline, some sort of image that you like, you can click right here to edit the cover. And then what you're able to do is go ahead and edit pretty much whatever you want. So when I select it, I can go and I can create templates. I can move stuff around. I can crop different aspects of images. Up here I can change the text. I can add shadow, stroke, align. I can change the fonts. I can remove the text by just clicking the backspace button. So I can go down here and choose from any of the templates that I like. If I can go up here, I can just add text. I can add text effects. So we can select any of the text, put it on here in any way we like. We can rotate it. We can change the background. We can add stroke and all that stuff to this text. You can create a pretty comprehensive thumbnail right from here, and you click complete. You could go down here and modify it anytime that you want, edit it up, add different aspects to it. So you can basically create your thumbnail.
Finding time to edit these streams can be hard enough to do, but then reforming it to release in vertical format, that just takes too long. Well, I thought so, but not anymore.
So let's say that we want to take one of our videos and clip it out and make it vertical. Well, I've already clipped one out, so let's open a new project. We're going to go in here and I'm going to go to this repurpose clip right here, and we'll just drag it onto the timeline. And then what we need to do here is go to ratio, and it's already 16:9. That's the original. But we're going to go 9:16, which is that right there. And then all we need to do is go ahead and zip it up so it is in full frame, and what we can do is we can move it in any way that we want. You can probably guess that you're going to want to keyframe your position and your scale and, you know, even your rotation if you want, so that you could track throughout the course of the video where you might want this to go. So maybe you want to go here, and then at this point we can set our position, and then we can move it out a little bit, and we can move it over here. And what you can see is how easy that just kind of moves and does what it does. And you can change it up so that we see right here, we can't really see what we're looking for. So maybe we click our scale button right here, and when we get over here, we can adjust the scale a little bit so we can see that. And then what I'm going to do is go back here, and I'm going to adjust, I'm going to add a keyframe there. We're going to go here, and then that way I can move this and scale it. You know, you just kind of want to make sure you get what you get. You could put a video underneath so that we don't have the black box at the top or the bottom. However you want to do this. We can basically do that all the way along. But what if we want to add transcribed information to this? So we're going to go into text, and we're going to go to our auto caption, and we're going to just go ahead and use English, and we're going to create some auto captions, and that's automatically going to generate captions for our video, and you can see them right down here. So you're going to be able to go and adjust the captions for your video if you want. You can even go into your text and force it to kind of bounce in and out, or whatever you want. If you want to, you can create all kinds of different cool things. So we've got captions right here. And what if we want to center? So we could do something like that. So when we play it, you could see. So you could see it's basically doing our text word by word. So we want it to be bigger, maybe like that, to fill up the screen. We want to bold it up. We want to create a bigger font size, something like that. And so now we can go back to the beginning and see what we get. There, now I have a scene, has my video camera in it, right? Look at how easy that is. And if you buy the paid version, you don't even have to spend the time to keyframe any of this up, because there's a very, very cool option in here, which is called auto frame. And what auto frame will do is it will analyze your video and frame it up so that if the action of the video moves or whatever, the camera will follow it, so it basically squares everything up. Are there some tips for editing your streams that I missed here? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to see what happened the first time that I used CapCut, you should check this video out right here. And if there's something you didn't understand in this video, or you just want to ask a question, I live stream every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stop by and ask your question. I look forward to seeing you there. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.